ECB focus session. Today's topic is Eurosystem Collateral Management System. My name is Elin, and I'm here with a great team of ECB colleagues, and we're here to guide you through today's event. It's a short and sharp one, so 2 hours top, so we should be done by 12. So stay with us. It will be nice and intense. You'll get lots of info, we promise. I looked quickly this morning and it looks like a good day in Europe, so fairly clear blue sky. So let's hope today's event will also bring lots of clarity and clearness to all of you on the topics. So I can see that people are checking in now. So this is super good. We have high interest as always in these events. So we will, in addition to the WebEx that some of you will be on, we're also live streaming the whole event and recording it, which will allow you then to come back and rewatch all the material. In addition to that, we're also uploading all the slides, etc., used today, so you will really be able to use the content in your work ahead. So we expect a lot of activity because we do these events for you. We do them to update you on the projects, but of course we also take questions. We have to do it in a little bit of a coordinated way because there's so many of you online. So none of you will be able to speak. You're all muted, but you can use the chat. So we encourage you to post your questions inside the chat. If you are with us in the live stream, you can still post questions. You can do that via email. So if you send an email to mip.events@ecb.europa.eu. This is like the best email address ever. Take a photo of it now so you can remember it later when you have good questions that you want to share with us. Please share throughout the whole morning. We will pick up. So we're a lot of people here and we really try to pick up as many questions as possible, but do bear with us because we tend to get hundreds of questions. So it can be a little bit tricky on the way to, pick up everything, but we will do our best. At the very end of this event, we will be doing, as always, this super quick 2-minute survey where we give you the opportunity to give us feedback because it's super important for us that these events are what you need. So take those 2 minutes and just fill it in. It will just be a scan, QR code you can scan, and then you can just fill in the survey super quick after the event, but it really helps us. So thanks to everyone for doing this again. All right, so not much more from me to say, so I just want to get the program going. Again, the live stream is here, so if you're facing any issues in the WebEx, just move to the live stream. It's really on there all the time, so you can just go there and watch everything. And without that, I just want to get going on the program because we have a lot of interesting content with us today. So the first speaker that I'm really happy to have with us today is Dimitri, Deputy Director General at the ECB. So I want to hand over to you and bring you on to the stage and take me off and over to you with the welcome address, Dimitri.
Yes, thank you, Elin, and good morning and welcome to everyone for this focus session on ECMS. I hope you hear me well. For once, I'm dialing in from home, and I hope that the Wi-Fi will stand the discussion. Today we expect more than 1,000 participants in this session. Another interesting statistics, and thank you to Elin for giving that to me. We have over 35 countries connected and more than 600 institutions registered for this event. And we know that many others will very likely also follow via the live stream, as you said, Elin. I must say I'm not surprised of this interest because we are now 5 months from going live with the CMS. There is a lot of work being done on all sides. And I hope that this session will be useful for you from the perspective of giving you the fresh information on the status of the project, and also giving you, well, this is more or less a unique occasion for you to raise any question that you may have and that will help you getting ready for our deadline on the 18th of November this year. This is our fourth focus session. The last one, if I'm not wrong, was in January. And as you know, we have a good tradition of very interactive sessions. So I hope it will stay like that. And so do not hesitate, as Eileen mentioned to you already, do not hesitate to ask questions. We are here for that. You have the chat and of course the email address. I repeat, mip.events@ecb.europa.eu. And again, we will do our best to take those most of those questions on the spot during the session. Let me now spend a few minutes on the status of the projects. As said, we are 5 months away from our scheduled go live on the 18th of November. The central bank testing, so the test done by the central banks, is progressing well. It's maybe not as advanced as we would have wanted, but it's really in a good shape. We have also completed a very large portion of the non-functional tests that we have to do, and that's also a good result. And we are also well advanced with our operational readiness. You know that the production system is already in place. We have already started connectivity testing, and we are also in the process of completing all the operation tests that we need to do before go live. On the side of the users, the community testing is also progressing well. The vast majority of the function domains have been released for testing. And here the rationale that we follow is that we must reach sufficient progress and sufficient confidence in the quality of the software before releasing it for you to test. In this respect, I want to thank you already because we have seen over the past month a lot of activity on the test environment, and thank you for that. It is fair to say now that the last week have been much less active because for most of you it was not possible to do the testing. The reason for that is that we are in the process of doing a migration rehearsal. We call it MT9 for migration test 9. It's ongoing. What I can share with you today is that the pre-migration work is now completed. It was a lot of work, but everything went very smoothly. And we are now preparing for the migration weekend, which is coming very, very soon. And we also expect that to be smooth. The colleagues will tell you more about that in a minute. Concretely, the test environment will be reopened on the 1st of July, so not far from now. And we expect the test to resume from that point onwards. And actually, we expect a peak of activity. We really encourage you to do as much testing as you can, and also to reach out to the national service desks when you face issues or when you feel the behavior of the system is maybe not exactly what you would have expected. On our side, although it will be summertime very soon, we have organized that all teams are there, I must say, combat ready to take any question or any challenge you would give them. A few words on the casting for the session today. We will start with Audreyne. Audreyne will walk us through the planning. So she will share with us some insights on the timeline and the key milestones for the between now and go live. I'm also convinced that with her, I dare to say, limitless functional expertise, I'm sure that Audreyne will also take her share of the questions across the focus session now. Then we will continue with Bobby and Bamini for a deep dive into testing. And then Anaïsa will cover, she's actually the master of ceremony for the migration on our side. And then Bobby, Bamini, and Anaïsa will share with you, all possible practical information that will help you understanding in very concrete terms what is expected from you in the coming month. In principle, there is no question they cannot answer. So feel free to raise every point that you have in your mind. Again, we value a lot the interaction. So the value of these sessions increase a lot when we get a lot of questions, and we will do whatever we can. Use the chat again and the email address that we shared with you a bit earlier. So now it's great time probably that I I give back the floor to the next presenter. I wish you a fruitful session today. I will stay in the background and I will contribute whenever relevant, and I will come back at the end for a few closing remarks. I think Eileen mentioned it already. This event is recorded. You can see the recording on our website at a later point in time. And also all the slides will be shared on the website. And with that, I believe I'm done, Eileen. So I give you the floor back. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dimitri. So that's the welcome. And as Dimitri said, he will also be here with us. So we're really lucky he will also be here the whole morning. So post questions again into the chat and we will be taking them. So thanks, Dimitri, for hanging on with us and thanks for the welcome. And then without any more delay on the practicality, we will jump straight over to Audrey, who will do the key milestones until go live. Audrey, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So indeed, I will provide some insight on the timeline and key milestones until go live this morning. If we can move to the next slide. Yes, so I said by Dimitri, the go live date of the ECMS is now 5 months away, so almost tomorrow. And main focus for the upcoming weeks are testing related activities. So we will have the restart of the functional user testing in what we call our pre-production environment with all actors, so with the CSD, G-party agent, and counterparties as of 1st of July. We also have the migration testing, and here Dimitri mentioned it, but also to say it again, we'll have soon our first migration weekend dress rehearsal, so the next weekend, end of June, also evolving the actors. So this is quite a good milestone for the project. I will not enter further into details related to these activities because my colleagues will tackle that. So I think we can move to the next slide to look at the main readiness milestones that we have. Here, I would like to take the opportunity to remind you that today, this is the last day for the connectivity setup and execution in production environments. So I would kindly ask all the major actors, maybe who have not yet done it, to finalize their connection to this production environment in the coming days. So NCBs, CSDs, counterparties, whomever has to connect, please do not wait to do it. Then if we look at the right side, you can see we have other readiness milestones, which are not testing related activities, but we have the contractual and legal adaptations completed and adaptations of operational procedures completed. So with the ECMS, this is not just moving to a new software, let's say. Even if the ECMS, we will not alter the existing business and legal relationships that exist today between counterparties and NCBs. Still, we know all that the ECMS project has been the opportunity to do major progress in terms of harmonization. So please have a look on the legal aspects and operational adaptations that you may have to do if not yet done already. And finally, on the right side, you can see the ECMS go live for the 18th of November. So let's make it happen. Regarding this ECMS migration plan, here I would like to recall everyone that even if we know that go live is in 5 months, mid-November, the work has already started in production. I already mentioned connectivity, setup and execution ongoing until today. Still, you can see we have some pre-migration activities which will start beginning of August. So it means that for us, the work is really moving in production with a milestone beginning of September, for which we will provide an assessment of the situation. So we will evaluate the situation basically, and we will provide all the relevant aspects to our steering committee for that. We'll then have a key part, which is a go-no-go decision on the 8th of October, for which we will provide all the relevant aspects to support this Governing Council go-no-go decision, which will be taken 6 weeks before the go-live. I think we can go to the next slide because I mentioned this go-no-go decision, and I think maybe this is quite useful to share a bit with you some insights about, okay, go-no-go criteria, what are we looking at? We mentioned a lot testing because this is really the focus for which we are expecting you to take part of those activities. But nevertheless, we have more than 13 go-no-go criteria listed today, and we have 4 big clusters. So we have on one side the product readiness, about the software, delivery quality, the testing phases, system performance and stability. We have the Eurosystem readiness, where here we are looking at the actors being ready. The operational readiness, this is more related to the procedures and processes to ensure that everything is in place. And last but not least, migration readiness. You all know we will do a big bang migration mid-November. So all the colleagues are putting their effort to ensure that everything will go smooth. So we have all these different phases: connectivity setup, pre-migration, preparation weekend, finally migration weekend. So all these criteria, we monitor them on a regular basis, of course, in order to assess at any time if some action have to be put in place. Then looking at the ECMS publication here, reminder from my side that we have an ECMS professional use webpage in which you can find a lot of information. We have different kind of publication which are available. We have the info pack giving some information about the ECMS functionalities and some business processes. There is also a lot of information on the testing and migration activities with the bi-weekly testing condition document, which is published. We have information on the status, so we have codes, business rules, access rights, U2A, A2A role, and finally, the summary of the previous focus sessions, as this is already the first one we are doing for the ECMS. That was all from my side. I will have a quick look if there is some question I can tackle already on my side.
I think people are still waking up, Audrey, on question side, but they're coming in now. So what we can do, so now I'm just showing you again the email and the chat for everyone. So they will probably be posting questions. They're slowly starting now. But what we can do is if you stay with us, Audrey, I hope so, then you know, we will pick up on these questions as well throughout the event. So yeah, people are coming now. So so there will be a question for you as well. But then I want to just thank you for this intro on the timeline and key aspects until go live. There's not much time to go, like Hordia nicely said. So you know, it's up in the big chain ring at the moment. But with that, I will move then to the next presentation, which is on user testing, and then we can start solving through the questions and then picking up some from for Audio as well. So over to you, Bobby and Bamini. I think Bobby, you will start.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Elaine. So hi everyone, welcome. We want to go through the user testing with you. We want to go through the migration with you. Firstly, Bamini and I, we will speak to you about the user testing, then Anna-Isa will take over on the migration side. For the user testing, we are now deep in the user testing phase. This is of course very, very critical indeed. Bamini coordinates the test management here in the ECB. I lead the testing and migration streams, and what we will do is go through with you to look from your perspective what we can offer you in terms of support and what you will need to do. On Anna-Isa's side, she is coordinating the migration testing, and also she will play a very large role in the go live. I'm monitoring your questions at the moment, and I'll come back and I'll go through a lot of them as well, but maybe we'll just start now with the presentation. Can we advance the slides,
So
guys?
we will, yep. Do we want to bring in Bamini?
Great. Yeah, no, I'll start on this one and then we'll bring in Bamini, Elaine. Yeah, thanks a lot. So as you can see, we have 12 weeks until user testing completion. So the very first point here is that the 20th of September 24 is our formal end of testing. You will be able to test continuously afterwards. There will be no problem at all. The system is not closing down or anything of the sort. What we need to have is a cutoff for our reporting and as a part of a project milestone in order that our board can make an informed go-no-go decision that Audrey already taught you about. Yeah. So if you can see our central bank testing, we're continuing to test the central bank functionality. We're continuing to test all of the other functionality as well. And of course, as we progress into June and July, we have the standard release 2024 as well. and we also have to make sure that we retest all of the bug fixes which are being deployed by our provider. Yeah, in the community testing phase for you, this is really the most important part, if you like, on your side. When we finish our migration weekend dress rehearsal next weekend, then the system will be ready for you to begin further functional testing. You had a period previously, but now you will have the entry criteria again with T2S and T2, and all of these are interconnected in the test environment. So this is a very, very important part, and we have a plan for July and August where we will have dedicated campaigns related to the various domains. Please stay in contact with your National Central Bank. Please stay in contact with your CSD when we want to test corporate actions, when we want to test the open market operations. We will be letting you know exactly the best period to do so. Also, we're talking about the reporting, all of the different functionalities and domains of the ECMS system. We will be looking to test these heavily during July and August. So you can see this according to our plan here. And then, of course, as Dimitri said, we've just finished the migration test 9 pre-migration, and now we move on to the migration weekend dress rehearsal. Then we move on to the migration test 9. From the production viewpoint, we're currently in connectivity, and Aisa will discuss to you about what that's about. Then we have our pre-migration in production, where the reference data for the service is laid down, and all of the reference data related to T2S and to T2, to the interaction between the services. This is all part of our pre-migration. We must make sure that our reference data is laid down. We must make sure that we're ready to begin. Then we have our preparation week before the go live weekend, and then finally we will go live. So this is the project timeline, if you like. These are the 12 weeks until the 20th of September, but after the 20th of September, right up to the go live date, you will have access to the test environment, and you can continue to test and continue to get ready for our go live. So please don't fear or say anything. The 20th of September is a deadline in terms of reporting, so that we can bring the good view to our governing council to say that ECMS is ready to go live in November. So I would hand over, Bamini, and you could go through the milestones maybe at a more granular level.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. Good morning, all of you. So here, from this slide onwards, you will see the milestones and then the detailed planning for the different campaigns that we want to conduct. Okay, so in this slide, what you see is the first key date is the 24th of June, where we will get back the interconnection of T2S and CLM to ECMS. Okay, but then the week following the 24th till 30th, then the migration testing test 9, as we were saying in the beginning of the presentation. So migration test 9 will be ongoing still, the preparation week, and then we have the migration weekend dress rehearsal, which will be finishing on the 30th of June. And then from the 1st of July, then we restart the community testing phase. The functional testing can restart with the T2S and the CLM interconnection established with ECMS. And then, that's the main milestone that we want to share here. And then from from the start of 1st of July, we have 2 slots, 3-week slots. That's called a live timing testing window. So what you see here is from the 1st of July until 18th of July is the first 3-week slot. And then we have another slot from 19th of August till 6th of September. So what is the difference here is basically in these 3 weeks, the schedule of the test environment and the support and everything will be aligned as we expect in production. Yeah. So basically the schedule, the events that will be running in the daytime, the nighttime. So all these will be aligned as it's expected in production. So that's what we will be testing. So to test as close as to the production testing conditions, the production conditions. So that's what we will do in these 2 slots. And then another key milestone that we want to share is the 23rd of August. So this is the deadline for the completion of the fundamental test cases. So as you've seen that we have published the fundamental test cases that needs to be executed and completed for each of the functional modules. Yeah, and so the 23rd of August is what we have agreed and what we see here as a deadline for the completion of these fundamental test cases. And then you can then submit the outcome of these fundamental test cases to the National Service Desk. Then the next point, the 6th of September, yeah, so we have the 23rd of August to complete the fundamental test cases, but nevertheless, we still have 2 more weeks where we can still continue the functional testing in this test environment, where we will also have, the live timing schedule applied, and then we hand it over for migration test 11 as of 6th of September. And then after that, then we have 2 weeks of migration test 11 happening. So from 9th till 20th, and then on the 20th of September, we close the user testing execution. Yeah, formal user testing execution phase is completed. But nevertheless, as Bobby was mentioning, the test environment is going to be available, and the testing activities can go on. But the formal completion of the phase is on the 20th of September. So that's, yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. So then we go to the next from the 1st of July. Yeah, so we've opened already. If you see the domains here, yeah, what you see in the sub bullets, that marketable assets, cash as collateral, corporate actions, credit claims, global credit and collateral position, monetary policy, pool position, and projection. So all these modules, functional modules, we were already opened. Yeah, we were this was being tested by all of you even before we lost the T2S and CLM interconnection in the user testing environment. So so this is what we will resume the testing from the 1st of July for all these modules. So the software is available. The environment will also be up and running from the 1st of July after migration test 9. Nevertheless, we still advise you to contact your National Service Desk, so respective NCBs, to get the communication on the completion of the migration weekend activities before resuming the functional testing on the 1st of July. Yeah, so this is the information we want to pass here, and then we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so here it's a timeline wise, it's the same. Why we have split is because these 3 domains, what you see here, the provision of reference data, relocation of marketable assets, and statements and reports, these domains, the opportunity to test this before was not possible. Yeah, was not possible because we had some issues. We couldn't hand it over to you for your testing. But from 1st of July, so we also advise you to start the testing for these 3 domains. Again, yeah, for any before you start any testing, so please contact your National Service Desk NCBs, so to get the green light from them. Okay, so that's on the 1st of July, and then we have the tri-party agents testing. So currently we have planned to start this testing from the 15th of July. And then the last year from the end of July, from the 29th of July, we also would open the multi-pooling. Why there is a it's planned only at the end of July is because currently the testing is ongoing. The Eurosystem testing is still ongoing. So we want to ensure we do the testing and stabilize it and then hand it over to you. So that's the reason then we want to over to end of July. So that's it. So as usual, for all the domains that we open, we always give this information in the testing conditions document. Yeah, and also in the annex of the testing conditions document, you see for every single domain, you will we will list down the open issues. Yeah, that could have an impact on your testing, on your business cases. So please have a look at those list at the end annex. Yeah, at the end of the testing conditions document. Okay, which is published on a fortnightly basis. Then The last 2 slides, it was an overview of the different functional modules and the timeline on when we want to open that to you, yeah, for testing. But the next few slides would be focusing on the testing campaigns. So apart from, you can do the testing. The testing can be done for all the domains across this the whole user testing phase. Nevertheless, we have particular slots for some of the critical domains, some of the critical testing activities. So we have allotted few time slot, and this is what we call as testing campaigns. And for the OMOs, yeah, open market operations, which we did a similar campaign, yeah. Before we lost the T2S and CLM connection, we did a small campaign in March. So similarly, we will do another campaign for 2 weeks, yeah, from 8th of July until 19th of July, as you see here. And the objective here would be to test these operations, yeah. So if you see LAO, LPO operations, and then here, so the scope, yeah, could be extended. So basically the testing is still ongoing internally as well at the Eurosystem level. So if we see that we could extend the scope, then we will then, yeah, extend it. But we will always communicate this to you via the testing conditions document and via the NCBs. Okay, and based on the outcome of this test, how it is progressing and all, if needed, we might we will be also in a position to add an additional mini campaign, yeah, later in July. We can still plan this, but it really depends on the outcome of this testing, from 8th till 19th of July. And then as from August, just one more point there in that slide. Yeah, so as from August, the objective for us is, the OMOS is basically to test those operations that are going to be then in production, yeah, and test it like in production conditions. So this is the objective. So, but then of course we are still working on this, and we will communicate on the further details via the NCB colleagues. Okay. That so the next campaign, next item that we really want to also focus is on the elective events. Of course, the mandatory events, as you say, it's very critical. Yeah, so what we recommend is for all the markets to start with the mandatory testing events as from 1st of July. Yeah, and then focus on this until end of July, and then from beginning of August, the whole month of August, we have really quite a lot of elective events to be tested. So there, hence, since we have allocated this whole month, yeah, dedicated this whole month to the testing of the corporate action elective events. This doesn't stop the testing of mandatory events in July. So you can continue to test the full scope of corporate action in the whole period of the user testing phase. Or why we have this focused 4 weeks of corporate action elective events testing is really to monitor and to see how the testing is going on, and if there are any issues, tackle it with high priority in this window, so we can really progress well, yeah, on the elective events as well. So that's hence, since we have allocated this time, yeah, from 1st August until 30th of June. The prerequisite for this, as you see here, first is to stabilize and complete as much as possible the testing of the mandatory events, which is in the scope of the fundamental test cases. So that's the first prerequisite, yeah. And then of course for the elective events, because currently the testing is also going on the Eurosystem level, so there are some issues identified. So the objective is to get this all issues resolved as soon as possible, and also tested again the fixes, and then hand it over to you from the beginning of August. Yeah, so this is the prerequisite and objective. I think I already explained the objective of this campaign. So thank you. And then the third item that again we wanted to give focus is on the statements. Yeah. So here the prerequisite, of course, is for the colleagues for the marketers to do the needed subscription, and then complete the configuration for the statements and the reports that you know. This is the primary prerequisite, and of course, currently there are the critical issues. If we identify anything from the current testing. Eurosystem testing, if we find anything, then yes, yeah, we will also fix that. But as of now, there are no blocking issues open. But yeah, this is where we stand. So to have a focused statements and reports weeks, and we want to do this, and we want to do this. We recommend to do this from the 29th July till 9th of August, so 2 weeks time. Again, the objective wise, it's the same for all the campaign. The objective is the same. So we give focus on those weeks, and with respect to the testing effort and the support to each other, and then support from the national service desk and support from the ECMS service desk. So all will be really focused on these week on this domain. Yeah, so that's what we want to do. Yeah, those were the three critical campaigns, yeah, that we have planned as of now. And then coming to the cross-border testing, so for the corporate action or for marketable assets so here what we so this testing phase, yeah, it can be done across the whole user testing execution phase. So from 1st of July until 6th of September, the testing on the cross-border cases can be done. Yeah, what we here want to share is related to the communication and the organization of this testing. So basically for the CCBM testing, so it's always the home central bank and the correspondent central bank, shall coordinate to establish the appropriate testing conditions, yeah, for the counterparties. And then hence we ask, we advise all the counterparties to contact the home central bank. So to get the testing data, so if you want to do cross-border testing on the ISINs or the assets and accounts and all these information, and also on the CA events against which you can do the test. So all these test data information, yeah, you can get it from your own home central bank. Yeah, so we advise you to contact your home central bank to get all these data, and then you can start testing anytime during the whole user testing phase. Okay, that is on the CCBM. And then on the volume testing, so here again we have a window. So from 22 July until 16th of August, around 4 weeks of time. Here we will be organizing also volume tests based on the requests that we've received. Yeah, so if the objective of this test is basically where the users can test if your system can process the high volume responses from the ECMS. And you can send a lot of instructions and then see the responses, and then see if your system can handle the responses and process it. Yeah, so this is the objective, because the function or the performance testing or the volume testing of the ECMS system is being handled by the Eurosystem. Yeah, it will be done here. But the objective of this is for you to see if your system is able to cope with this high volume response. And here, so if you are interested, if you would like to do this volumetric testing in this window, then please contact your NCB colleagues with relevant information. So you will and then we will process this information and come back to you via your NCB colleagues, come back to you with the date when this testing could be done in this window. Yeah, okay, so that's what I wanted to say on the volume testing. Just on, I saw that there are 2 questions on the NRO and the 4i. Just on the 4Is, yes, to answer, all these testing on the 4Is can also start as from the 1st of July. So the testing is ongoing. So if there are any issues, we will highlight this also there in the domain, yeah, within the domain, if we see already there are some issues on the 4Is for some of the U2A screens, and we will inform you via the testing conditions document. So you can test this from the 1st of July. On the NRO, so this NRO, for the 6 screens, it will not be activated from the 1st of July. We will come back to you with the activation date for these 6 screens. The objective or the idea would be to activate one screen one by one, yeah, and then test it, and then finally activating all 6 screens. So this is we will go step by step. Yeah, so that's the objective. And yeah, but when, yeah, as I said, we will communicate on the NRO activation, yeah, also via your NCB colleagues and also via the testing conditions document. So that those 2 points I saw that came up in the beginning. So I thought it will be good to handle it. Yeah. Okay. So that's all. Here, Bobby, can I?
Yes, Bamini.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So we'll go through the key documents for user testing. We also have a lot of questions in the chat. I'm going to try and go through a few. I will skip a couple that are related to migration because Anna Isa is better qualified than me to go through them. But nonetheless, first of all, we must look at our key documents. So we publish really a wealth of documents on the ECB site. So please, the ECMS info pack, especially related to user testing and migration, there's a lot of information there for you. It's not too late. We have a lot more testing to do. Please download this and please go through it. Also, our migration and testing strategy. This is very important. The connectivity guide, as Anissa will mention to you, we are in the production connectivity now. There may still be some information here that you need. Also, the terms of reference, very, very important, how we act within the test environment. Please, if you haven't done so, please go through this. The fundamental test cases are what the national central banks will be requiring from the various counterparties in order to prove that you can perform these tasks in ECMS. So please download this. The testing conditions document is really the most important one that we have. It will allow you to plan your test cases. We have some defects in the system. We're working to improve them. When the testing resumes, if you like, on the 1st of July, further defects will be found. This document allows you to see the defect itself, so that when you're planning your test, you can see when the delivery date for this defect is. You can do your planning in order to concentrate your test cases on the domains which have better testing conditions, and then those where the defect lies, you can push back that test case until the defect is delivered. So this is a very important document. Please continuously download it on a fortnightly basis. Wait for the update, and it will keep you informed of the conditions, and it will become the production conditions document. We will see when we decide to go live, there will be still, you know, 1 or 2 or a few defects in the system. These will be outlined here, and we will also provide you with workarounds for these. Yeah. So this testing conditions will also become the production conditions document. The roles for A2A and U2A and the ECMS are very important. Every action in the system has a privilege which allows your user to perform this action. These privileges are grouped into roles. You need to know these so that you can apply them to the user itself. The UDFS is also published. There is a training manual which is coming from the NCBs, and as Bamini already told you about the NRO, we have tested now internally the non-repudiation of origin for the 6 screens in ECMS for which it applies. This will soon be coming to the test environment to you, and you will be able to test it. And for this reason, you should have the GoSign desktop. There was a question in the chat related to someone who had already downloaded the GoSign desktop, but NRO was not available. So I hope that all of you will make sure you have the proper version of the GoSign desktop, so that we will make it available on the 1st of July and you can immediately test. So these are the key documents, if you like. I'll just go through the questions. There is a couple of questions about performance, about the GUI performance, and about the timeout. So for us, we are looking now to configure the test environment to be as close to production as possible. We hope that these performance issues will improve for the participant who questioned about the timeout, I didn't, this is one that was kind of new to me, or I didn't really realize there was an issue. I will follow up on this one and we'll see what we can do about maybe increasing the GUI timeout or see if it's configurable, but we will have a look at this one. Yeah, the performance of the GUI itself, we have a non-functional task force. We're working on the U2A experience for you. We're also working on, for U2A very much the performance when you have a lot of concurrent users. This is something that is very important to us. On the A2A side, we're looking at how the system performs when it integrates huge files. This is being done in a different test environment, not the one that you use. So our volumetric tests as such will not reduce your experience in your environment. So please do not worry about that. And then, as Bamini said, we also offer you the ability with the volumetric tests to send us a volume from your side so that you can test your ability to integrate a large volume from the ECMS. So this is very important. There was a question in the chat about the support after go live. So it's very important to know that in production, the ECMS service desk will be there for you, of course, for all production issues, and there will be a service desk related to the testing issues, because of course, after we go live, the test environment will still be open. We will move to the next version of the service. We will be looking to have our yearly or biannual releases where we will improve, we will add change requests, etc. to the service. And for this reason, there will always be support for you in production and also in the test environment level for your testing of our future releases. So this is very, very important. There was a question again about the disruption during the testing period, where, as I said, we're working with our non-functional task force now to ensure that you have a better quality of service. Let me just have a look. There's a few about production, I think. There was a question about for someone who could only have a successful U2A, so they've managed to connect to the GUI, but they haven't managed to connect in A2A. For us, connectivity is based on your business case. If you are planning to use the ECMS in A2A, and of course many are, a lot are, then you must prove A2A connectivity. Please liaise with the service desk. Please liaise with your NSP. U2A is not a valid. Is not if your business case is also to use A2A, you must connect as soon as possible. Yeah. The second live testing phase, a business day testing. So the business day testing, this is where we will run the schedule the same in a live timing schedule, the same as it would run in production. So we ask you to take advantage of this, to use the extra time for some timing, to configure your system, to make sure your internal system is ready to handle the production schedule, and you will have full support from the service desk for this. There's also a question about that the CTP2E phase is very short for the participants. Indeed it is. It's also very challenging. We have a challenging plan here, but we're really looking to take advantage of this period where all of the systems are connected, and we ask you to really intensify your testing and to liaise with your service desk and to work. It is quite a tight timeline. That's completely true, but we're looking to get as much done in this period as we possibly can. There's a question about contingency tests. So this is what we are planning. We have, of course, the Econs 2 contingency module that you all know about, related to it's the contingency module of our RTGS of T2, and we are testing internally the interaction between the Econs 2 and the ECMS, and we will be holding what we call operational related tests related to the contingency, where we have to move to the Econs 2. Your NCB will let you know when these are on, and you are all cordially invited to take part in this testing. It's a very important part, of course, that we can use this contingency module, and that ECMS can move into this contingency mode. So I think this is the most of the questions in the chat, but we'll come back a bit later, and I would hand over to Anna Isa now to go through the migration with you.
as Anissa coming in, we just want to thank you all for for all the questions. It looks like everyone drank all those espressos, Dimitri, that I offered you in the beginning, because now it's very busy in there. So thanks for all the questions. Some of them you will be answering right now, Anissa. So we bring you in and continue with the testing. So over to you.
Thank you. Hopefully I can close some of these questions too. Okay, so hello, I'm Anaísa. I'm with ACB, as Bobby mentioned, for the migration, and that's what we will look into today. So I think we can start. This is one slide I think we've presented many times. It's our journey in the migration, how this will go from now until the go live, how we prepared for having an ECMS in the operational phase. The journey is known by all of you. We have the different steps. We started with the submission of the registration forms to your NCBs, and we are now in the connectivity phase. So the step 2 out of 7 that we have to realize in order to get to the go live. And this connectivity finishes today. And the next steps we will have, which is the step 3, 4, and 5, are a bit of our pre-migration, is all regarding the setup of reference data. And then the last 2 steps, the preparation week and the migration weekend, it's more related to the ECMS and the transactional data, as well as connectivity to other systems. So the preparation week is it's the 2 weeks before the migration weekend, and then on the migration weekend is really when we would migrate all of the positions on the different types of collateral and credit, prepare the pools, and prepare the system for go live for Monday, where you would start your activities with ECMS. So we are on step 2, and I think on the next slide we have a bit of this step 2. So this is the connectivity. We started on the 2nd of April, the phase, as it was planned. The green light to the counterparties was provided by the NCBs throughout the second half of May, by each NCB at the national level. So this depending on when the NCB was finished with the setting up of the counterparty. What was expected of the counterparties was that you would test your U2A and your A2A connectivity. The U2A connectivity via the administrator user created by the NCB for the counterparty, and this based on the information you provided in your registration form. And the A2A connectivity via the A2A users that the administrator, so your user administrator of your counterparty, creates for your entity. The A2A connectivity, as Bobby mentioned, is not mandatory. It depends on your business case. If you will use A2A connectivity in prod, then you should definitely test it. Otherwise, you are not required to test it. In case you're facing issues still with this, as Bobby mentioned, please reach out to your ECMS National Service Desk. Provide them all of the details of the situation, and then they will investigate the problem, and if needed, require the support of the ECMS service desk. Sometimes it can be also an issue with the NSP, so please also check that all of the steps you needed to do with your NSP are correct, that you made the correct CGU subscriptions. We saw this a bit in the past, that there were some issues with some of the CGU subscriptions that were requested by the actors, and they had it to be corrected. So please also check this. Otherwise, please also check that you created the A2A user, you corrected the DN correctly according to the definitions of the ECMS. There is a specific way to create a DN, and yeah, try to make sure all of this is done correctly. If still it seems that it's correct, then reach out to your service desks. The phase ends today, 21st of June, and so in this case, we know that the connectivity is not yet reached for all of the actors, namely in case of the counterparties. So we would advise you to do this as soon as possible if you have not done it yet, because the phase is concluded today. And most importantly, between the 2nd of August and the 26th of September, there will be no possibility to test the connectivity because we will be in the pre-migration activities. So if you have not accomplished it yet, please do so as fast as possible. If you have issues that you are not able to solve through, reach out to your service desk. Okay, if we can go to the next slide. So in the journey that you saw before, nothing much changed. The journey is still the same, but there are some details that we would like to inform you. So it's some updates to the migration process, so finer details that are relevant for you as a counterparty. So first important thing to notice is we will perform a deactivation of the counterparty users during the pre-migration phase, but also during the preparation week phases, up to the migration weekend activities being finished. This will be done. So we will inactivate you at the start of the pre-migration phase, then we activate you again for you to realize your activities, and then you're deactivated again once we reach the preparation week. This is to avoid that there is some access to the system and other things that could compromise the activities. So this is a change compared to what was there before. And I think most importantly than that is that for the migration weekend, the NCB can request their counterparties to access the ECMS and run some tests. I mean, we call it tests, but not tests because it's in prod. So it's some checks, I think, would be most appropriately worded for these. So they might request these of you, and this was already foreseen somehow, but we didn't have a specific window in the schedule. So now we have a specific window in the schedule at the end of the migration activities, so that this is known by everyone, the timing at which this could be expected. But then again, this is to be decided by the NCB at national level, how they want to do it. So you would hear these requests from your NCBs directly. So this is available, it's a possibility, but it's then depending on each NCB. Okay, so this is where we are and the changes that we that not really changes, but a bit of updates that were important for you to know. Regarding the next steps, where are we going next is the pre-migration, as I mentioned. So we will start the pre-migration on the 5th of August, and the phase lasts until the 20th of September. So the first, or the pre-migration, as I mentioned, includes the steps 3, 4, and 5. Basically, it's all the creation of the reference data, and it's mostly an NCB and ECMS operator activity. What it will encompass is the creation of the parameters of the system, the setup of the counterparty reference data, the rest of it that comes with the registration form, like the addresses or contact information. It will also include the creation of the accounts and the pools and all of these activities, but this is all done by the ECMS operator and the NCB. And then the step 5, we would say, is more the one related to the counterparties. It's the setup of the counterparty own data, like the remaining users or the registration form data verification. And this activity is expected to start on the 26th of August. But again, upon green light of the NCB, so we have a schedule. The schedule reflects that this should start on the 26th. But of course, if we face some issues during the setup of the other data, it could be that this is slightly delayed. So that's why we have this green light system here in place, but the activity is still expected to be starting on the 26th of August. I think on the next slide, we have a bit more of details for how this step 5 goes. So what we want, so this will be after the capture of the counterparty registration form data and other data by the NCB, as I explained. So the NCB will do all of these in advance, and then it's when the counterparties are requested to access the ECMS and do their own activities. These activities are all of the reference data that is under your scope, which is in this case just the remaining users and the access rights of these users. This is because, as you know, for the connectivity, the only users that were requested to be created were the counterparty admin user and the A2A users. All of your other users should be created only at the time of the pre-migration. So this is the time where you would do it from the 26th. You would do this activity and also verify that the data created by the NCB based on the registration form is correct. So you would have access to check all of the other data that was created to you as far as you have access, as described in the ECMS user handbook for counterparties. Then you can check and make sure that you know what was created, if it's correct. If you have anything that you have doubts on, you should contact your national service desk and ask them or point out that something was created incorrectly. As mentioned, the planning. This is upon green light of the NCBs, and it's expected to be from the 26th of August to the 6th of September. And that's when you should execute these activities. So please keep those dates in mind, that period of time in mind. The first level of support is, of course, your national service desk, and the documents you should be using to guide you through these activities. You have the U2A and A2A roles for the ECMS, which is published on the ECB website. Also, the ECMS user handbook for counterparties, also published on the ECB website. And then there is this ECMS migration document for counterparties. This you will receive via your NCB. That describes the activities into more detail, and also preconditions and other things like that. Okay, so for the next migration tests, so up to now we were discussing prods, but the migration tests we hope to do are mimicking what we want to do in prod. That's what we want to test. So in this case, the next tests that we will have in new tests, we have 3 more tests, one of them optional. They are all focusing on the preparation week and the migration weekend dress rehearsals, or migration weekend rehearsal. In this case, there is no specific activity for the counterparties during these 2 periods, the preparation week and the migration weekend, so unless your NCB, as we mentioned in the beginning, requests you to, at the end of the migration activities, to access ECMS and perform some checks. So in that case, only in that case, you would be involved in the actual activities of the migration tests. Test 9 is the one ongoing. As Bobby mentioned, we just finished the pre-migration rehearsal. We are now in the preparation week. And the migration weekend starts on the 28th of June and goes until the 30th of June. If the counterparties are to be involved, is when we finish the activities, so Sunday, the 30th of June. This is because all of the tests we will have now in new tests are dress rehearsals, which means that we are executing the activities exactly as in prod, or as much as possible as in prod, including the fact that it's on a weekend, same as we will have in production. I take the chance here to, because I saw this comment or this question in the chat regarding the data that will be used in the migration tests, the transactional data that the NCBs will migrate. As it is a dress rehearsal, the objective is that we migrate as much as possible prod-like data. Prod-like data means data in volume matching the volume that we'll have in prod, but also the same type of data. This doesn't mean necessarily that is the data currently in the production systems of your NCBs. So it's not necessarily the same. And specifically for the case of marketable asset positions, it can be that due to some restrictions, it might not be possible to execute it in even in production-like volumes. So this is a specific case, but it will in the end be up to your NCB to choose which data they will migrate, if they will do an exact copy of their production environment, or if they will just, as I mentioned, migrate something that is prod-like in the sense of the volume and the type, but not exactly the same as in prod. So this is all up to your NCB. They should inform you of their option. Because then specifically, I think for the case of marketable assets, it's important for you to know which assets are available for you to, let's say, use during your testing activities in the CTP2E phase. So this is to reply to that question we had in the chat. And then, so returning to the test, we have test 9 it's ongoing now. We have the migration weekend, not this weekend, but the next. And then we will have test 11 in September. And if necessary, there is the option to trigger test 12 in October. As you can see, it would even be after the go no-go decision date planned. So it needs also to be thought of it, but it's an optional test. So hopefully we do not have to trigger it, but it's there in case of need. It's already planned. Okay, so I think we can go to the next one. Here it's much of what I said, but one part that is important is even though you do not have any specific activity, unless, as I mentioned, your NCB requests you to do some checks on the Sunday of the migration weekend, the NCBs will be migrating the transactional data, including the credit claims. So for those of you that use credit claims, you currently have an ID to your credit claim. It can be from your internal system or from your NCB system. Once these are created in ECMS, same as after the go live, when you register a new credit claim, the ECMS will attribute an ID to this credit claim. This will happen also in the migration. So once your NCB migrates this credit claim, the ECMS will attribute a reference to this credit claim. So your NCB in prod, and this is what will happen in the tests as well, will need to communicate to you this new ID. So it's an activity on the NCB side, but it's important for you to know that this is foreseen. It's foreseen these activities on the preparation week. So that there is some time and it's not expected on the weekend only that you have these corrections. There is also there could be in place some periods, kind of like an early cutoff for registration of credit claims or even for even mobilization of new marketable assets. This is just to avoid that we have new credit claims to register quite close to the migration weekend, because then the ID could only be provided to you then. But this will all be specified in the documentation. I think the next version of the ECMS migration document for counterparties includes this, but some of these cutoffs are also applied at national level. Anyways, the relevant parties, your NCB will provide you this new ID. And that's important for you to know. It's how it will happen in prod. And of course, we will rehearse it as much as feasible in the migration rehearsals as well. The last slide, I think it's still on the counterparty. So it's, I think this is a reminder we also had in the last session. Even though you are or might not be directly involved in the tests, it's still of extreme importance that you respect that a migration test is being executed. So here we would say that if you are participating in the test, please only, and even in the production phases, please do only the activities that are requested to you and execute them at the time that they are requested. This is really important that you don't start doing other things that are not requested, because this could have some unwanted disruptions or effects on the test or the production activities. And this, I think, caters more for the test, but please respect the environment availability. Don't try to do other tests that are not migration tests, tasks or activities while there is a migration test ongoing. I think now that we have this deactivation of users, this is a bit somehow we hope that is not going to happen so easily, but still, if we are within a phase where you do have access to the system and you are participating in the migration phase, do just the activities requested. Yeah, I think that's it. I could not see all of the questions in the chat, but I think I will
so
quickly. Yes.
Yeah, so Anissa, I will thank you so much. I will give you, 30-second break to look at all the questions. So thanks everyone for shooting very detailed questions, lots of questions in here. But I'd like to bring back Audrey, maybe because we had a few questions for you. So if we could get you back, there you are, excellent. So there was a few questions for you on credit claims and 4i. Do you want to pick up on some of those, please?
Yes, exactly. So we got a question asking about when will the ECMS catalog of messages and credit claim files be available. So looking at the catalog of messages, we are currently doing a final review. We do expect that this will be fine, and beginning of July we will publish it, so there should not be big change compared to what has been published so far. Regarding the credit claim file, so we are currently planning a new XSD. Sorry for that, but with the testing activities ongoing, the NCB have identified few fields for which we need to do some adjustments. So these are just fields, like only few, maybe 2 or 3, where we need maybe the pattern to be adjusted or the length to just be adjusted as well. So this is something we would like to publish also beginning of July, still giving you enough time to adapt to not disturb the test foreseen in July. Then the other question related to the 4 eyes. I think someone mentioned that today for CLM they do it in CRDM. For the CMS, the setting has to be done in the CMS. This is why you have the access rights configuration, where then you can say if you use the 2 or 4 eyes principle. So do not use CRDM for ECMS 4 eyes. This is directly in the ECMS to do this configuration.
Great, thank you, Audryn. Super. So I'll let you go a little bit, and then maybe Bamini, could I bring you back? Because we had a few questions on a number of things here for you to pick up, but for instance, the NCB contact. So what happens directly before the 1st of July? So we have a few of those. I think you mentioned it, but maybe you want to reiterate a bit here.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Ellen. So basically for the communication, so from the 1st of July, so the current plan is the testing will, the functional testing will start on the 1st of July. Yeah. Nevertheless, in case if there are any pending activities from the weekend or from any issues that have been identified from the migration weekend rest rehearsal, communication highlighting all these points, yeah, will be sent out, yeah, via the NCBs to all the users. Yeah, but currently there is nothing planned, but of course like for all the other target services, if there is definitely a need for such a communication, we will go for it and provide such a communication. But right now the testing will start as planned on the 1st of July. So that's the main communication now we want to share. That's on the communication and the 1st of July deadline. And then the second point, what I can also take is on the volume test. I see there was a question where the planning that they plan to do the testing from the 1st July to 18th of July, the volume testing. But here we actually recommend the dates. What you saw in the slides, it was basically from the 18th July until 16th of August. This is the time that we recommend to do volume testing. Why? Because the window before and the window after, yeah, it's we will apply the live timing schedule. It's just so we don't affect the testing during the live timing schedule. We recommend to do the volume testing in this 4 weeks window between these two live timing schedule. That's the recommendation. Yeah, but and hence we would request you to align to this window your volume testing expectation. But please also share the volume and the related data. Then we can also assess from the ECMS perspective, and then can also come back to you via the NCB codes. Okay, so that's on the volume testing. And also there was another question whether what will happen to the testing activities in between this 2 live timing schedule window. So no impact on the testing. It's just the schedule will be switched from the live timing schedule to test environment schedule. So that's it. So that's the schedule will be changing, but the testing activities will be you can perform the testing, yeah, without any disruptions. You can perform the testing from the 1st of July to 6th of September. You can do it without any disruption. It's just only these 3 weeks, 2 slots of these 3 weeks. Then we will apply live timing schedule. That's it. And the remaining time we will apply standard schedule needed for the test environment. Yeah. So that's I think those. And then testing of the 4 eyes. Yes. Yeah. To answer the question, yes, this can be tested from the 1st of July. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Bamini. Excellent. So Bobby, I think maybe there's a few that you want to pick up on as well. So it's very active in there now.
It's very good. Yeah, no, it's really excellent, Ellen, and also, you know, the quality of the question shows that everyone is really they're deep in testing, so it's very good. One of the questions was the use of the 4 eyes. It depends on our settings, so on the counterparty settings or on the user settings, and this is true. Yeah, you can use the ECMS in 2 eyes, or you can use it in 4 eyes. You can configure it that way. Of course, your auditors will be looking for you to use it in 4 eyes, but it's of course up to yourselves. There was a question also about the volumes. Somebody said, you know, when they're testing their volumes to send to ECMS, what is a high volume? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? And the question here is really, the answer is really, use your production volume, maybe add a little bit on top, and then that will give you a good, you know, a good overview of your ability to receive production-like volumes from the ECMS. The ECMS will be ready, configured to take these volumes from you. You don't need to worry about that. But from your side, use your own business case. If you have 100 mobilizations a day or X amount a day or whatever it is, if you want to send 1,000 messages, if that's your business case normally, then maybe send 1,100, 1,200, whatever, you know, in order to ensure that you can integrate the amount of messages coming back. Yeah, so this is really an important one. So then I think what we need to say is what's very important. Somebody also spoke about the period where the counterparties are disconnected. This is in production. While we do the pre-migration in production, there will be a disconnection period. We want you to make sure to concentrate on your production connectivity now. Please concentrate on this now. Please get yourself connected to production as soon as you possibly can. Liaise with your service desk, liaise with your network service provider. This is important. Yeah. Then in the test environment, you will be continuously connected. You can continuously test. As we said, you'll be able to test all the way up to the go live date with certain restrictions that will be in the testing conditions document. Yeah. And please liaise with your NCB, stay close to your national central bank and liaise with them. And good luck to everyone. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Super. Thank you, Bobby. Now, Anita, you've had a few minutes. There's a few questions for you, so maybe we bring you back to answer a few of those. Thanks.
Thank you, Eileen. So indeed, I think now I collected all of the questions. Thank you for the colleagues also for supporting. So one of the questions we had was, does the activation of counterparty users A2A and U2A during the pre-migration phase, if it's related to the phase of the 5th of August to the 22nd of September, indeed, the deactivation of the users in production will be for the pre-migration phase the first time. So that will be from the 5th of August to the 26th of August. On the 26th of August, we reactivate the users in the counterparty users in the production environment. This means A2A and U2A users, so that you can execute your pre-migration activities, which are the ones we explain, the creation of your remaining users and validating that the reference data created by the NCB is the correct one. Okay, so I think that answers 2 of the questions we had. It's also related to the question I think Bobby answered, that the deactivation during the pre-migration is in production. So this does not affect your tests ongoing in the user testing environment. And during the user testing, you will only be deactivated during the migration tests. So currently this week and the next you are deactivated as expected, and then already during the test 11, which you already had as a phase where you could not test, the one in September. Okay, so replying to that one. To clarify on the connectivity phase, the connectivity phase as a phase finishes today. That doesn't change. However, of course, if you have not yet successfully tested your connectivity, you should keep on trying. The environment in production is available, and you should keep on trying to establish your connectivity. And here we are raising awareness is that from the 5th of August onwards, there is no possibility to test this. So you should, as soon as possible, test this. and try to get these, because also if you face issues, then there is a limited timing for correction of any issues. So that's why we are pushing for you to test as soon as you can. And that's the case. So it's still possible to test it if you have not done it, but please do it as soon as possible. And this also connects that someone asked if both the A2A and the U2A users could be set up in prod from the 26th of August. So the answer is your A2A users should actually have been set up already right now. In this phase we are, that is finishing today, the connectivity, so that you can test your connectivity. So in case you have not set up your A2A users, please do so as soon as you can, and please test it as soon as you can, the connectivity for these users in the production environment. The U2A users, you are expected to set them up only in the pre-migration phase, and so this means from the 26th of August onwards. So A2A users now, if you have not done it, the U2A users of your counterparty should be set up only from the 26th of August onwards. For production, of course. And then there is a question, when is the migration for production planned? So the different phases, we will go through that. The connectivity phase in production finishes today. The pre-migration phase, which refers to the migration of reference data, starts on the 5th of August and is ongoing until the 20th of September. The preparation week phase starts on the 4th of November and is ongoing until the 15th of November. And the migration weekend is, of course, starting 15th of November, end of day, until the 70th, or let's put it like this, 18th of November, actually to the actual go live. So the weekend before the go live. Okay, I think those were the questions from my side.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so
you.
very good here. Thank you. I think we're getting close to the questions, answering the main things. Remember, like Bobby said a few times, your national service desk is a big hit. So also contact them on some of these very specific questions. They're super good. Some of them are maybe also addressed to them. Maybe we just want quickly, Audrey, do you just want to pick up on one question in there before we close up?
Yes. I think
ahead.
I can do some. So it's a follow-up from what I just said previously. So regarding the usage of 4 eyes, it depends exactly in the setting you do in the CMS. So in the CMS, in the access rights setup, either the user can be a super validator role or just a validator role for the 4 eyes mode. So this is really something you do in the CMS. There was a question about the publication date for the XSD file for credit claims. We plan to do it beginning of July. I cannot yet give the exact date, but we will ensure proper communication. We are still reviewing the XSD as we got an incident last week, so we still have to fine tune. This is also the reason of doing some testing, is that then you may have to adapt. And so there was some question about what will be changed, what we will change in the XSD. So here I can give a bit some insight for those who can understand it. So currently the probability of default was only 6 digits. We will go now up to 7 digits. There is a pattern that we have to update for the credit claim reference instruction ID, message ID, and credit claim number. Just to avoid that you use characters which are not allowed, like double quote and so on. So these are kind of things which are to be avoided. Nothing fancy from the CMS. This is just that we need to update the pattern, as we have seen in testing that some user already tried to do this kind of non-positive test case. And last but not least, the length of the message ID. So far, this is 40 characters, 40, and we will reduce it to 35 just to ensure that the admin 007 will be correctly generated and sent to you in case of rejection. So these are the current changes we have for the new XSD for credit claim. But I think there are other questions, so back to you, Ellen.
Yes, super. Thank you. I think we're getting close. It's good to see. It's good to see everyone's very active here. It means that you're really deep into this. So so good to see, and thanks for all the questions. I think we are closing up here. So maybe I want to bring that Dimitri to just say a few roundup words here at the end of this super active morning. Dimitri, over to you.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Eline. Indeed, very active. So at the beginning, I mentioned that we like it when the session is interactive, and once more, you did very well. I heard Bobby say lots of concrete and very good questions, and indeed that was the case. And I hope that we managed to cover, if not all, at least most of them. I noticed, I also checked a bit the attendance during the session. We had a good steady 750 people connected. We don't know how many in the live stream, but this is a really good result, at least from a perspective as I mean, it confirms the focus session as being a good vehicle to reach out to you. So we will for sure continue with that. Today, going back a bit to the content, today we started with the planning and the milestones ahead of us. You heard Audreyne say that in principle, we are reaching now the point in time where you should have established your connection to the production environment. And the main message from my side is, if you have not done that yet, please hurry up. It's important that you take care of that as soon as possible. Audreyne also mentioned the go-no-go decision that the MIB will take 6 weeks ahead of the planned go-live date. I just want to come back 2 seconds on this. Such decision is obviously a common practice in large projects like ECMS, but I'm sure you do that in your own organizations. And by the way, we did the same for the T2, T2S consolidation a while ago. Of course, the MIB on our side as the body that is deciding on that, the MIB will not wake up on that occasion. There is a continuous monitoring in place. To share a bit of insights, we had a MIB discussion on ECMS not later than yesterday in a meeting. We will have very early in July another assessment of I think Audreyne mentioned as well, the go-no-go criteria. We will have an assessment of those criteria very early July, and the outcome of this assessment done by the MIB will even go to the Going Council by mid of July. So you see, we do not enter blindly into such go-no-go discussion 6 weeks before go live. This is actually the last step of a process that is already started. So just I wanted to shed some light on that. Then after Audreyne, we had Bobby and Bamini. Bamini covered the various detailed milestones for testing, starting with the 1st of July with the reopening of the test environment. Again, please, start testing again from the 1st of July as much as you can. I would like to remind us the questions in the chat. I would like to take maybe a couple of comments on my side. I saw in the chat a question that was, to my, well, in my opinion, the answer, and it had to do with the performance of the GUI. And if I noted a certain Jochen, so I don't know the family name, but raising this point. Of course, it's always possible that there is such performance issue, and of course this must be solved as soon as possible. Be aware that most of the users do not face the same issues, and the root cause for performance issues can be in any step of the connection. So it can be neural network, it can be on the side of the DNSP, of course it can be also on the platform, but then we tend to see that as a general situation. Usually when we see problems like that, we establish task forces, and we make sure that we bring all the relevant actors around the table to find out where the issue is located. And I encourage you to do that. And of course, if you feel that the National Service Desk can help you, don't hesitate to contact them. I also noticed some questions on the deadlines. The deadline for communicate for the connectivity testing and so on. Again, you will find the truth in the documentation that we shared with you today, or for which we shared the reference today. And again, you can reach out to your service desk. They will help you finding out those deadlines. Then we move to the migration, and thank you, Anaïsa, for walking us through. Here we cover the various steps of the success for a successful migration. I noticed that behind us, or actually almost behind us, we have the registration forms and the connectivity. Again, if your connectivity is not established yet, please proceed. We will have heavy work in the coming weeks on the setup of the reference data. And here, most of the work will be done by the NCBs. There is also the necessary configuration in T2S. And I would like to recall or to remind you that by the end of August, there will be some work for you as well to establish the remaining users and also to proceed to the verification of the registration forms, as mentioned by Anaïsa. And now it's time for me to get to the conclusion. So we are now 5 months from go live. There is a lot of work being done. We are progressing well, but let's also be mindful that there's still a lot of work ahead of us. And from that perspective, the summer will be very active in many respects. Again, on our side, the teams are mobilized to support you in the coming weeks. And so let's make the best possible use of these weeks to progress and also make sure that we are reaching the full readiness by November. And maybe to close, there is no such event without a good backstage team. So thank you again, Eileen and the team, for the very good organization. And with that, I think I can give you back the floor, Eileen. Thanks again to all for the active participation today. Thank you.
No, thank you, Dimitri. Really great to have you on. It's great that you set a time aside for this. We really appreciate it. And it can also be seen by how many people join every time. So thanks to everyone for joining us out there, asking questions. It's really useful. It really, gives us an insight where you are and what issues you face. We just want to ask one tiny little thing from you. As said about the feedback, if you could just, as you log off, just scan the QR code here and fill in the question. It's really just multiple choice, super simple to do. Please do it because it will help us tailor these sessions so they're best as possible for you. So do it. It takes no time at all. And then, of course, you can always follow us on our different channels, stay up to date about what's happening in the different projects. So the information is here. So there are different ways to do it. Newsletter on the social media channels. So I encourage you to do one of the different options. But take the survey, and that's it from our side. Thanks to all the speakers. Thanks to all the participants. Great to have you all here, and have a nice afternoon and a good weekend ahead. So thank you and goodbye from us.